Listen to stories and appreciate idioms. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Encounter Chinese, Encountering Idioms. Today, the idiom we are going to encounter is
唇亡齿寒.
Let's break it down and read it slowly.
唇亡齿寒. 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 唇
means lips.
亡
means disappear.
齿
means teeth.
寒
means feel cold. The literal meaning of
唇亡齿寒
is that if the lips are gone, the teeth will feel cold. Nowadays, it is used to describe how the loss or destruction of one person or thing will have a negative impact on those closely related to it. The idiom
唇亡齿寒
first appeared in the book
左传西公5年
The original text states,
辅车相依唇亡齿寒者其余国之谓也.
The meaning of this sentence is that if the supporting chariots rely on each other, the situation of lips gone, teeth cold, will not occur. The allusion of this phrase comes from a story between the states of Yu and Gua. The story goes like this. During the spring and autumn period, Jin was the fiefdom of Shiyu, the younger brother of King Chang of the Zhou dynasty. The people there were content and peaceful, and the land was abundant in resources. To the south of Jin were two small states, one called Yu and the other called Gua. The two countries were connected by mountains and waters, and their borders were adjacent. Their ancestors were both from the Ji clan, so the two countries had always been peaceful and harmonious. However, the ruler of Guo was a conceited and arrogant person. He knew that Jin was very wealthy, so he was jealous and frequently caused trouble on the border of Jin, raiding and harassing them. Jin Xiangong, the ruler of Jin, felt that Guo had become a threat to his country, but he was very distressed because he had not found a suitable way to solve the problem. One day, Jin Xiangong asked his subordinate, the minister Sun Shi. The country of Guo frequently invades our borders, which is causing me a lot of distress. I want to attack Guo now, do you think it's feasible? Sun Shi replied, Your Majesty, it's not advisable to do so now. The relationship between the two neighboring states of Yu and Guo is very good. If we attack Guo, you will definitely come to their aid. If these two countries unite, they will be a formidable force. I think if we try to fight them both at the same time, we may not be able to win. Jin Xiangong was disappointed and said, So, are we just going to let Guo bully us like this? Sun Shi answered, No. I don't think so. I heard that the king of Guo loves to play and enjoy himself. Why don't we send him some new and interesting toys and servants? This way, he will become even more addicted to playing and neglect state affairs. When that happens, we can take advantage of the situation and attack Guo. Jin Xiangong thought this was a very good plan, and he followed Sun Shi's suggestion. Jin country then sent a large number of toys and servants to the king of Guo. When the king of Guo saw the new and interesting items sent by Jin country, he became completely obsessed with playing and neglected state affairs. Every day he only cared about playing, and completely disregarded his duties as a ruler. Jin Xiangong learned about this and thought that the time seemed ripe, so he prepared to send troops to attack Guo. His minister Sun Shi once again offered advice to Jin Xiangong, saying, "When we attack Gui, it would be best to prevent you from coming to its aid. I've heard that the ruler of you is a short-sighted person who only cares about immediate benefits. You can send him some goods and money, and then ask to borrow his route to attack Gui. When he sees the money, he will surely agree. In this way, Gui will suspect whether you will still be friendly with it, and you will also not help Gui because of the wealth we have sent them." Jin Xiangong said, "We have just sent so many gifts and servants to the ruler of Gui, and now we want to attack him. How can the ruler of you believe us?" Sun Shi said, "This problem is easy to solve. You first send some people to the northern border of Gui to create trouble. Then, Gui will definitely send people to blame our Jin kingdom. We will never admit that Jin has gone to the border of Gui to cause trouble. When the time comes, we will have a feud with Gui because of this reason. In this way, Jin will have a reason to punish Gui." Jin Xiangong listened and greatly approved of Sun Shi's plan, so he followed the plan. The officials guarding the border of Gui saw Jin's soldiers coming to cause trouble, and sure enough, they sent people to blame Jin Xiangong. Jin Xiangong knew that the first step had been successful, so he sent Sun Shi to visit Yu. When Sun Shi met the king of Yu, he presented him with a valuable gem and a 1,000-mile horse. The king of Yu was very greedy and was delighted with the gifts. He played with the gem in his hand and stared at the horse intently, afraid that Sun Shi would take the gifts back. He asked Sun Shi, "These things are very valuable and rare. They should be the national treasures of the state of Jin. How can the king of Jin bear to give them to me?" Sun Shi said, "Our king has always admired you, your majesty, and wants to become good friends with you. Therefore, he brought these humble gifts to express our king's sincerity. Of course, our king also has a small request. You see, the king of Gui has repeatedly invaded the borders of Jin, which has caused great annoyance to our king. Our king plans to punish them a little. Can you lend us a road for Jin to cross over? If we are lucky enough to win, we will give you all the spoils of war as a thank you gift." At this point, the minister of Yu, Gong Zhiqi, stopped and said, "Your Majesty, this is absolutely not possible. The relationship between Gui and Yu is like that between lips and teeth. As the saying goes, if the lips are gone, the teeth will feel the cold. If Gui is eliminated, then Jin will attack our Yu." The king of Yu was a little embarrassed and said, "You see, Jin even gave me such precious gifts. We can't even lend them a road. This is unreasonable. Moreover, Jin is 10 times stronger than Gui. Even if we lose Gui, I think we can still be friends with Jin. With the help of powerful Jin, we will no longer have to worry about attacks from other countries. What's wrong with that?" Gong Zhiqi wanted to persuade the king of Yu a few more times, but he could no longer listen. Not only that, but the king of Yu also treated Sun Shi with the courtesy of a distinguished guest. Gong Zhiqi believed that if things continued this way, Yu would definitely perish, so he secretly fled Yu with his family. In 658 BC, Duke Xian of Jin sent Li Kuei and Sun Shi to attack the state of Gui. Finally, in 655 BC, Gui was completely destroyed by Jin. Jin distributed some of the looted treasures to the king of Yu, and then stationed its army outside the capital of Yu, telling the king that the army would only rest for a few days before returning. The foolish king of Yu agreed without hesitation. However, one day, the guards of Yu rushed in and reported that Jin's army was going to attack Yu. The king of Yu realized his mistake, but it was too late. In the end, the king of Yu was captured by Jin and Yu was destroyed. In this story, the states of Yu and Guo were
唇亡齿寒
Jin destroyed Guo, and soon after, Yu was also destroyed. There is also a story like this. In ancient times in China, there were two neighboring countries separated only by a mountain range. Despite being neighbors, the two countries were vastly different. One was wealthy with a contented population, while the other was very poor. The king of the poor country realized that if the country did not undergo reforms and maintained its current state, the nation would become increasingly impoverished and its people would suffer. He decided to trade with the wealthy country and sent a merchant caravan to cross the mountain range to conduct trade. However, the journey was slow due to the rugged terrain of the mountains. When the king of the wealthy country learned of this, he not only refused to help the poor country, but also planned to use the opportunity to attack it. He sent his army along the other side of the mountain range towards the poor country. The king of the poor country realized the danger and immediately sent a messenger to notify the merchant caravan. Upon receiving the news, the caravan not only decided to temporarily suspend the ongoing trade activities, but also led the poor country's army to the other side of the mountain range to resist the wealthy country's attack. In this war, the poor country's army and the merchant caravan worked closely together and successfully repelled the attack from the wealthy country. This battle also made the king of the wealthy country realize the importance of mutual cooperation and mutual reliance. Working together was more suitable for the development of both countries than confrontation. From then on, the king of the wealthy country changed his attitude and was willing to establish friendly trade relations with the poor country. The two countries became interdependent and mutually supportive. Soon after, the poor country gradually became prosperous, and the wealthy country also became stronger. The people of both countries could also trade and travel freely. This story tells us that the relationship between countries or people is interdependent. That is to say,
唇亡齿寒
if one country or person is in trouble, it will affect others too. Only by cooperating with each other can we achieve mutual success. These are the two stories. Next, let's review the idiom we encountered today.
唇亡齿寒唇亡齿寒
Finally, let's use
唇亡齿寒
to make a sentence.
这两家公司依存度很高，只要有一家出问题，唇亡齿寒，另外一家也就麻烦了。这两家公司依存度很高，只要有一家出问题，唇亡齿寒，另外一家也就麻烦了。
That's all for today's Encountering Idioms. If you like it, please like and subscribe. See you next time.